The roadmap to understanding the mystery of the Ice Stone has been revealed. What began as a set of multiple theories of our own clashing with theories from the comment section ends with those very theories combining into one, as we slowly gain clarity on the Great Chaos and the Ice Stone. With Jungkook now a part of Sungrim Jeonjinggak, he's separated from Mudeok and must undergo basic training. Park Jin is dead set on keeping Jungkook within the walls to keep him safe by giving him a task that is not traditionally given to the mages of Sungrim, reading Seogyeong's poem, Words of the Heart.
On Mudeok's side, she cannot bear the separation as she comes to terms with her feelings for Jungkook, so she enters a Songrim servant contest and succeeds with the help of her very own boy group, Go-Gyu-Yo, who make it their mission to see that she gets in. We finally see what might have happened to Jin BuYeon. Jinmu had used her powers to detect energy to find the Ice Stone, but since then has been missing. Jinmu Takcheon's father returns from his search for BuYeon with someone who may be BuYeon. We find out from the scene that the door recognizes those of the Jin family. Is BuYeon still alive, or is she truly dead?
And this is where all our theories collide into one. In our previous videos, we asserted that Mudeok was a descendant of the mage that helped Seogyeong during the Great Chaos. We also said that the Jin family would have recognized Mudeok as BuYeon, and they even have a portrait of her. I still hold that they would recognize Mudeok, but that will have to be my own suspension of disbelief, as with the sudden appearance of Soyi, who is supposedly Mudeok's friend, the possibility of her being the lost daughter of Jin rises to the forefront, with the original Mudeok walking around with the sash of the Jin family crest. But how does Naksu fit into all of this?
What's up, Sunday fams? Welcome back to another video. We continue our journey into the Alchemy of Souls. The past 2 episodes has revealed much more to our surprise.
Yes.
We had kind of put aside the notion that Mudeok is actually the long-lost daughter, but now it comes to the forefront, as we said.
Yeah, I think it is like a product of all of these theories being true. When we thought that she was the descendant of the original mage that helped Seogyeong, we thought that she could not be BuYeon. But we learn in these 2 episodes that the mage that helped Seogyeong was of the Jin family.
Yes.
So it was Jin Solran. And that just kind of combines our theories. So she is descended from that mage, but that mage is also of the Jin family. So she could be Jin BuYeon. I'm starting to lean towards that it is, with Soyi kind of walking around with that sash, and the sash has the Jin family crest.
Yes.
So at this point, she is BuYeon to me.
I'm starting to believe that as well, but because she was lost as a child, she got dumped into that water by Jinmu. You can't really tell what she would look like as she grew older, right? So I'm starting to believe that is BuYeon, Mudeok, and BuYeon. But where does Naksu come into this? Before
we get into Naksu though, I still contend that you would recognize, because people within those years, especially like the teenage years into like the adult years, you would not look that different, and they do have a portrait of BuYeon. But I guess for the sake of the story, they don't recognize her. So I'm willing to accept that.
Well,
that
I
is BuYeon.
mean, when the father came home and brought someone like supposedly the lost daughter in, they didn't recognize her either. So Hogyeong, the current matriarch of the Jin family, was hoping that was her long lost daughter without really even recognizing the face. She couldn't open the doors to Jinyu 1, and so I'm starting to believe that
they don't recognize their own daughter at this point.
But exactly where does Naksu fit into all of this equation? Because now I'm starting to think, because we see that scene with Jang Gang like pouring, like sobbing and crying over, I guess, his dear friend being petrified in front of him and dead, and that is Naksu's father. And so could that family, we don't know yet, it hasn't been revealed, could they have been the descendant of the So's, like the originator, the Seogyeong, right? Like that is, we have no idea. So this is just a crazy theory that maybe Naksu, with the power of the Jin family combined in one, like that's what she needed to get back into somebody's body.
Yeah, and I think that's what explains the existence of both kind of personas in Mudeok's body at this point, with BuYeon being the one that's appearing inside like the Alchemy of Souls scene, and with Naksu being the one that explains kind of like just the powers that she has with Tansu, and then just like being able to be such a powerful mage. And there's a reason. There's a purposeful reason they're not revealing her family name, right? She is Naksu, and her father is just some guy, right? That is a constellation or a star recorder, and he happens to not have a family name. And Naksu is just Naksu, and I'm starting to think it's like Soul Naksu and like
oh my god,
and Jin BuYeon.
Oh my goodness! Like now now it's starting to make sense because you need the power of So and you need the power of Jin to handle the ice tone.
The power comes from So Naksu. I'm starting to call him So Naksu now. But it makes sense because when Naksu in the beginning soul shifts and she has like a target in mind, but it happens to shift into Mudeok's body or BuYeon.
Yeah.
It's like this detection of energy kind of like defaulted into her body, like BuYeon's like energy detection suctioned Naksu's energy into her during the soul shift, and that would explain why she still exists, and that's why, you know, she went into that body in the first place, because she didn't like after that Alchemy of Souls, she was like, I didn't want to transfer into that body.
So that kind of explains how the ice stone was sealed in the first place, because you need the power of So-gyum and then the power of Jin So-ran to kind of, you know, combine into one in order to seal that away. I think that has something to do with it.
And so with BuYeon being blind, I think that she is the inheritor of the So genes, and then Naksu going into Mudeok's body. So now internally Mudeok is BuYeon, and externally she is So Naksu. That is like my prevailing theory right now.
It's
Naksu
crazy.
has to be something.
It's crazy. But now we also know that Jinmu does have possession of the ice stone by that scene that he pushed her over the boat and now he was holding it. So now we know why they have so many soul ejectors.
So that covers the lore side of things. What happens in these two episodes is quite funny, because Mudeok and Jungkook are like, they have separation anxiety and they're trying to come to terms with their feelings for each other. Jungkook inadvertently rests his head on Yoonok's shoulder, and Yoonok is like smitten with Jungkook ever since he saved her. And she's trying very hard to you know, win his heart, or at least be in his peripheral.
Yeah, the romance aspects is starting to kind of be a little bit more prevalent here in the story, because Mudeok is also doing her best to enter this servant contest just to be with Jungkook again. Like, you know that the romance aspect, it's going to be between the two of them, because, you know, with Soyeol being in the picture, they're kind of also related. So it's kind of with our theory, they're kind of like sort of related. So that can't really happen. But I think it's fun and games when it comes to her trying to get into the Songrim as a servant with her tests, and then the boy band, the boy group, Gogoyeol, like really like kind of smitten with her too. Like there's just some kind of like this resonating power that she has over everyone that they're kind of just drawn to.
I think, well, I mean, at the same time, I think Donggu is just like along for the ride, because he's got his own kind of romance with Choyeon. Like, I think at this point we can call them together, because now, like the little scenes that we see of them, they're trying to like create moments where they're together, but not be so overt about how they feel. So they're like, oh, we're breaking up today. It's like, no, I think we should postpone it. And then Choyeon's like, it doesn't make sense that we're not together at this thing. And so they're like, would you like to come with me? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And so they're trying to skirt around each other's kind of feelings for each other, but I think they finally have mutual feelings for each other. And so we have Yul, we have Gowon and Donggu, who are like doing this test and doing the math around tables and like ingredients to wash clothes. I thought that was a funny part of the episode.
I thought it was cool because it kind of led to the Queen and Jinmu like having these questions about, well, we thought that when he was going to fight Songrim that he would kind of like continue on with that fight, right? But he sheathed his sword. He decided to sheathe his sword and perhaps started to become best friends with everybody else there, which kind of makes sense. Like if you're going to be the king, the future king, you need the help of these like geniuses, right? But the sexual tension is growing in between all of our characters. We have Park Jang and maidservant Kim, and then Master Lee being involved in that love triangle.
Yeah, that's also funny. I think like, you know, he at one point he's like, have I not been drinking enough tea herbs or chaste herb teas? And it's funny with maidservant Kim and Park Jin, because like even Hoyeom is in on the joke. He's just like, you are so slow-witted, you can't like you know, you can't pick up on these cues. And so every single time that maidservant Kim is like extending an olive branch, he doesn't take it, and he has to like like act like all like confused. And then this part comes when maidservant Kim tries to bribe a spot, or bribe one of the maidservants for a spot for Mudeok, and he has to yell at her, and then she's like, I'm just gonna leave. And he's like, no, you don't have to leave. So he's definitely slow-witted. He definitely has feelings for her, but he just cannot express them. The same with Doa.
Yeah, he's
like,
just
he gets
dim-witted
taste
about
for
that
it.
stuff, and Master Lee is just kind of probably just has never experienced this close to the opposite sex or something like that, where
Yeah, the temptation.
his powers are kind of like weaning a little bit. He needs to go drink more of that tea. But then another revelation kind of shows up in the scenes is when Jang-uk has to be forced to kind of train himself and read this the words of the heart.
Yes.
And we are going to have another video of continuing our myth and lore so far of Alchemy of Souls. We have some amazing theories on its way there.
And so in his quest to read this blank book that is the words of Sogyong, Master Lee comes in and he's like, will you be my pupil? And Jung-uk refuses once again, but he's like, okay, fine, I'll help you. It is originally a love letter, and how do love letters start? And so Jung-uk takes this opportunity to ask a few questions of Park Jin, and he's like, hey, what's the name of this person? And lo and behold, Jung-uk concludes that love letters start with the recipient, and knowing the name, the pages start to reveal itself. And we get this lovely, lovely poem. I don't know if it was written for the show or if it was taken from a famous poem, but it is it's a beautiful poem.
It's a beautiful poem. And does that mean that Jung-uk has risen, his powers has elevated again?
I don't think so. I think when Master Lee was revealing that it was a love letter, he said there is another way you can read it. So like he was telling Jung-uk that normally this is a concentration thing and it would take you a year, but there is another way to read it despite that. And I think this is just him kind of knowing the secret of the letter or the poem versus having mastered the concentration to read it.
And I think and hopefully in the next couple of episodes we find out what happened to the Choi family, the Queen's family, and why they're on this revenge story. So we don't know what that is yet. It could be something to do with the four families or the mage families in Songrim.
But that'll do it for our video on episode 9 and 10 of Alchemy of Souls. Be sure to catch up with our myth and lore so far, part 3, releasing on Wednesday. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Leave your comments in the comment section below and your theories. But as always, this is what we're watching this Sunday. We'll see you guys next time.